Morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I am Tamara Johnson Shealey. Good morning. It is Saturday, August 1st. OMG. I can't believe it. It's already August. Let's see who's joining me. Robbie, good morning.
Buenos dias. How are you?
Is good. How are you?
Can't complain. Alive, healthy, here, cool.
Amen. Amen. Look, we'll take that. We'll take that. Yeah, so August 1st, Robbie. David won't be joining us this morning, everybody. He takes the first Monday. Robbie, she's here with her beautiful self.
I chased David away. Everybody, for the audience, I'm sure knows that David and I have a love-hate relationship. It's complicated.
It is complicated, but it works, right? It works for the dynamics here.
He'll be back, folks. I'll let him come back when he wants. Actually, David is on, I think, a love fest somewhere. So
I would tell David what you said.
I'm sure. Oh yeah, no, he's gonna have to tell him because.
Yes. So yes. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Never a dull moment, guys. I have been raising money on this campaign trail, and it has been a challenge. It's been a challenge. COVID, the resources that people would have and could have if we weren't in the midst of a pandemic. It's the summer months. It's been quite a challenge to raise money. I had a fundraising goal last evening of $6K that I did not meet. And for a campaign of this magnitude, Robbie, 6,000 is literally quote unquote, and should be a drop in the bucket. This is, campaigns like this cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I'm nowhere near that. But the beauty of my candidacy and my campaign is that I have momentum and I have a message, and I'm not new to this.
Right.
And I've run 3 times before, Robbie. So for me I know how to make, and I'm a Black woman, and I can tell you, I know how to make $1 out of 15 cents.
And you're not a quitter. Obviously, somebody who runs 3 times, and more importantly, with an agenda. I'm actually sharing the watch party. I'm definitely I can multitask.
I am too.
But people are hurting. The jobs obviously are an issue. COVID has impacted. Everyone, or the Republicans, want people to go back to work, but we put our kids at risk. It's dangerous, but people have to go back to work. The Senate literally left for a 3-day weekend without providing without providing additional funds. It can really be challenging, and I hope people are taking care of themselves mentally. I literally am sitting here with coffee. There's cinnamon in my coffee. There's lemon water, just to make sure that I've seen so many people break down trying to run themselves ragged, almost the way a carriage horse would drop in the street, for its owner. And you just can't do that to yourself.
This is a season, Robbie, where, I said it was a reset, where we had to stop. The world stopped and we had to stop. And it was a time to reflect. It was a time to figure some things out. It was a time to kind of say, who am I? Where am I? What does my life need to look like moving forward? This is a good season, and everything is shifting. Many things are changing. A lot of things have changed. There is no normal, and whatever our normal it will be a new normal. So we're in this strange place. So I believe, Robbie, as a believer, I believe that right now God is moving and anything is possible. And the way things used to work, they're not going to work like this in this new season. However, we used to do stuff, that stuff ain't going to work in this new season. So
I think you're right.
Like this is something like the pot has been stirred, and this is something very different.
Well, we were living in such a way that was not sustainable. We were destroying the planet. We had ridiculous income inequality. It was, hurting some communities more than others. To your agenda, and I'm so proud to be a supporter of yours, because you're one of the few candidates, or the only one, who will come right out and say yes for reparations. when it wasn't popular. You know, and some people, I believe one of the opponents you're running against is Kelly, is it Lefler? I don't know how to.
Lefler. She's the incumbent, yes.
And she's on public arena camera saying going against Black Lives Matter and has a stake in ownership of the Hawks, I believe. Or no, it's Atlanta Magic. I'm sorry, I don't follow
the
sports.
Atlanta Dream is her basketball team.
Got that all wrong. Clearly, people know. But it's amazing. What I do know is how can you be a part owner in a predominantly, you know, minority league and make these blasphemous statements about Black Lives Matter? So who would vote for her? Please, I mean, if you do not have the money, and I completely get that, a lot of people don't. Please go to the dollar store and get a sign for $1, take a black marker and write Tamara's name across it, Tamara Johnson Shealey, and put it in your home window or your car window, and just share these videos. That in itself would be useful and beyond what really sometimes money can accomplish. At least I would. I'd say
that's a great and easy way to support. And you know, I like that. I like it, and it's a great idea. You know, like I said, Kelly Lefler is, so for those that don't know the dynamics of this race, Kelly Lefler is the incumbent. She was appointed by Governor Brian Kemp when Johnny Isaacson became ill. So this is a special election, and the people are like, why are there so many candidates in this race? There's 21 candidates in this race. Georgia calls us our jungle primary. So we have 21 candidates in this race. 6 Republicans, 8 Democrats, a Libertarian, some independents, Green Party, write-ins, all kinds of people are in this race. 8 of us, go ahead.
No. Go ahead, because I want to ask something about it.
Go ahead, because you have a question about something I just did.
I do. So wouldn't you be the first elected, not appointed, and also the first minority? And like, what are the demographics in terms of you being a woman of color in this position? Can you expand a bit on that? Yeah.
So Georgia has had 2 women U.S. senators. Both of them have been appointed. One was back in like maybe the late 1800s, early 1900s or something. And then now there's Kelly Lefler. So I will be the first African-American to be elected and the first woman to be elected, because the other 2 were appointed.
Right.
Yeah.
And then what would the demographics look like in the larger scale nationwide for you being in a position like this?
So there's been in the history of this country, I want to say 10 U.S. senators that have been Black. And this is 2020, y'all, we've had 10. So I will be the 11th one. So you know what, we're still making history. You know, Black people and Black America, we're still making history in this country in 2020. We're still doing things that haven't been done. So this race is like I said, it's a special election. And with 21 candidates in it, 8 of us are Democrats. Raphael Warnock is quote unquote the Democratic
darling.
Yeah, darling. We'll take that's a very nice word. Because I don't think my word was gonna be that nice. Thank you, Robbie.
I'm not making friends at his church right now, but whatever.
So he's the chosen one by the quote unquote party. But here's the problem with the Democratic Party, and I'm run as a Democrat. I am a Democrat, but I'm very much so independent in my thinking. And you know, I'm not just showing up and putting my name on the ballot, and that's what he's doing. Raphael Warnock, if you go to his website, absolutely has no agenda. No agenda. He's not speaking to any of the issues. He's showing up, putting his name on the ballot. And sadly, this is where it breaks my heart, because Black people, Robbie, will go to the polls and we'll recognize a Black face and a name, and we'll vote.
Yeah.
We may not know. And for somebody like for him, senior pastor at Ebenezer, quote unquote, standing in the shoes of Dr. King.
Right.
And you don't have an agenda for people. You don't have an agenda for Black people, and you doggone sure don't talk about reparations.
Well, it's so hard to keep up with everything, and we don't do a good job, never mind great, in our country with education. I mean, really just breaking down the system, even down to local politics and higher, is helpful. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about that. And then I just don't want to forget, I personally, when I see people who have that much responsibility, like being a senior pastor at a parish, having children, having other responsibilities, small children, and then I see politicians or elected officials saying, "Well, I'm a mother first, or I this first." It's like, well, how did you expect to do all this? Why would you accept this position and the responsibilities and then showcase all your other responsibilities or explain why you're not here because you're a mother first? I have to say I respect Oprah a great deal for that, because she chose willfully to not have children because she knew doing both, having schools for girls and her media empire would be not fair to both. She couldn't do both well. And I have a great deal of respect for that, because it shows us, to some degree, discipline and sacrifice and a commitment to what you do promise, to what you do. Sorry. I have a foster kitten. War here. There's a war in this house.
Spanish.
Yeah. Paco. No. Actually, her name is Alma. Actually, which that's funny.
But it takes a lot. I can tell you, as a mother, to answer your question, it's a balancing act, and women, I swear we could do it. We do it so well. We really do it well, because we have no choice. As a woman, you have no choice. You have to be mom. If you're married, you have to be wife. You have to be all things to all people at the same time. So we figure it out. But I can just tell you that for me personally, in this season of my life where I am divorced, my children are grown. My sons are 18 and 22. This is such an opportune time for me to be like on the forefront and getting out here and getting in the streets and getting and serving, going to Washington and just being all I can be, giving my entirety to the state of Georgia. Everything that I am, everything that I know, everything that everything, I'm giving it back to Georgia. And I'm willing to do that.
And that will make all the difference. That will make all the difference. Because I see politicians and I'm so disenchanted, and I have to even be careful because I don't want to seem cynical or toxic. Sometimes when we do the show, I'm like, scale it back, Robbie. because I am so disappointed in our current electorate. Dios mío. I'm so disappointed in I just see our politicians that are legacy politicians. They have the name, the third is behind their name. Their parents were politicians. They are attorneys while they're working full time. They have firms. Their kids are going to elite private schools, and their districts look in shambles. Their communities look in shambles. And I have personally met with them and begged to assist in areas that I know would make a difference. And they don't have the wherewithal to execute it. They don't have the political, what is that in English? Backbone? Yeah. The political backbone to say, no, this county contract requires oversight, and I am appointing such and such because I have the authority to do so, to make sure that the residents who are being taxed and afford these county contracts interests are protected, and that our streets are safe. I'm speaking in general terms. In this particular example, I'm talking about animal control. City of Atlanta and Fulton County and East Point, College Park, we pay a lot of money for animal control. And the vendor for that contract, in City of Atlanta alone, is $1.8 million. And I'm gonna run these streets.
She says, me too. She says she has grown kids and I'm gonna run these streets of justice. There it is, girl.
A lot of people don't equate animal control with public safety, but it is public safety. We can't have loose ends. That's the whole point of how animal control started. And there's no oversight over that contract. Our Fulton County commissioners earn so much money. We have no oversight. There's the oversight that they have is the vendor is allowed to say, this is what's going on, and nobody checks it. And that's why our communities of color, our distressed communities, are unsafe. That's why we have animals multiplying. That's why we have stray dogs. That's why we have kids literally being mauled to death in the streets of Atlanta, and lawsuits against our city and our county that have not been settled due to these unsafe practices. And that's just one example. And I'm speaking of Marvin Arrington, my district commissioner, my county commissioner, who's not been active on that.
And we have to be mindful that, Robbie, that we hold our elected officials accountable, whether it be city council, state government, nationally. We can't allow, some of them have just, they just get in office, they get elected, and then that becomes,
Well, every week there's a ceremony for somebody's grandfather. Not that
Egberto's joining us. Hey, Egberto.
Good morning, great people. How are you guys doing this morning?
Good. You gonna stick around and hang out with us this morning?
Your all's wish is my command. What can I say? So how's everything going? What's happening in the world today?
Robbie was talking. We were talking about holding elected officials accountable, Egberto, and they went away for a 3-day weekend up in Congress on the heels of unemployment running out.
That is what happens when there's a detachment between the people and the governed and the people who govern you. Because I genuinely don't think those guys understand the pain that people are going through right now. They don't have a clue. $600 to them is $600 means nothing to me. So
that's a dinner. Oh, we just spent $600 at dinner. People are living off of this,
right?
Feeding their families off of the $600. Oh, that was just a meal for you and your friends.
Yeah, we were talking about that last night, and it was like these guys don't have an understanding of what's going to happen the economy is going in a do you think the last numbers were bad? If they don't hurry and give people some money, people are going to start doing. Look, when you hurt people to a certain extent, they react, and
then
desperate people will do desperate things. Desperate people will do desperate things.
Exactly.
And I'm glad Egberto's here because an article just came out. I'll put it up. But Tyler Perry is on record saying that we shouldn't defund police or reallocate funding for other resources. A specific quote is let me check right here. My studio is in a neighborhood here. He's quoted on it. I put it up on my Instagram. My studio is in a neighborhood where I think we need police, but we don't need police that are undertrained, he added. Perry's studio, one of the largest in the world, is located in Atlanta, Georgia at the former Fort McPherson Army Base. The irony in this, and Egberto covered it, is he doesn't hire locally.
Mm-hmm.
So, is it clear? Is it just me?
Well, no, it's not. It isn't just you. They're choosing not to understand what defund the police means. If you say defund the government, meaning taxes, everybody will be on board. But you talk about something that is defund an oppressive force. We could have said defund an oppressive force. You see, sometimes I think we need some marketing, not that I know how to market, but
messaging. Yes.
Thank you. That's the word I really meant, Tamara. Messaging. Because, if you said defund the oppression, people are going to say, oh, yeah, let's defund the oppression.
Mm-hmm.
What a lot of people. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah, there are a lot of people out there that don't understand what it means, right? But guys like Perry and Bottoms and all these, they know what the message is. But a lot of times, and like I said, I'm not a marketing person, so I know a lot of times these marketers know what they're doing. Like Black Lives Matter, right? Black Lives Matter. When I spoke to what's her name? Collars. I asked her, "Hey, why did you why did you say Black Lives Matter instead of Black Lives Matter 2?"
You mean Patrice Cullors, who started the Black Lives Matter movement?
You were there when you were in Netroots at the same time that I first spoke to her, and then I interviewed her on KPFT, and then I said, so why did you say Black Lives Matter? Why didn't you just say Black Lives Matter 2? She looked at me straight in the eye and she said, it is what we're talking about. We don't have to ask to be mattered compared to anybody else. You should be able to be compared. And then she said, the other thing was like, and also that statement alone is going to get attention. Saying, could you love me too? Don't get as much attention as you better love me. You know, one gets more attention than the other. Same with defund the police. Defund the police is going to stay in the news.
But it's confusing.
Right. Reform the police is not going to stay in the news because we're always talking about reforming the police. You know, it's just never been reformed.
It's unfortunate go ahead.
He says if Biden was smart, he would pick Andrew Yang as VP. Americans going to be begging for UBI as this economy gets worse.
Yeah, but I don't know about Andrew. We need a woman on the ticket. In fact, a woman should have led the ticket. But hey,
but is America ready for that, Egberto? You are very progressive.
Universal basic income. UBI stands for universal.
If they're ready for a woman, or are they ready for UBI?
No, for the woman.
Okay.
For both.
Okay, for a woman, look, America wasn't ready for a black president. Okay, in fact, I always say
America is never ready for what it needs, Egberto.
Right, exactly. So they were never ready for a black president, but Obama was so good. And forget about policies that you disagree with or whatever, but as a campaigner and as somebody who, when white people look at Obama, they don't see a black man when they look at Obama, they see an entity. He so supersedes race, right? And that's why he could make it, and that's why it's so hard for everybody else.
Egberto, I'm so glad this conversation is coming up because this is exactly what you were talking about in terms of marketing and branding.
Right.
Obama technically is a mixed man, and I'm going to be very careful with my words so that I don't get misunderstood. I'm not. Well, the thing about it is that in my opinion, when America saw Obama, and I love Obama, even though Cornel West has great critiques of Obama, and I really love Cornel West, so I'm conflicted on it. But that being said, the majority of Americans did not see Obama as black because the majority of Americans see black in a certain way that Obama is not.
Right.
And so technically we were not ready. Now that's neither here nor there, but if we don't understand that, if the Democratic Party doesn't understand that marketing wise, we fall to the better marketing of GOP, which is exactly what has happened.
Right. But you see, again, and Obama, you could say, to what you're just saying, you could say Obama led the way. In other words, since we still have, let me explain. By the way, the same critique you have about Obama is the same critique I have from what's his name, the guy that you just mentioned,
Cornel West.
Cornel West. I love Cornel West, and Cornel West is absolutely right. Okay, but I can love a person and not like the way they do things. And the truth of the matter is, I genuinely love Obama for his techniques. I love Obama for the way he is able to get through the system. I love Obama because I think he moved the ball forward, right? Cornel West, I love Cornel West because he's not going to take the BS and he's going to tell the truth. We need them both because what Obama, I think, showed, right, is, hey, what it would look like to have a black president. Yes, he's half white, but you know what? Nobody sees half white, right? Hey, I have all kind of I have all kind of stuff in me. Tamara looked like a black woman. Don't believe that stuff, okay? Tamara have so much stuff in her. It's probably, you don't know, and you yourself, so
I want to say something about this because it really affects our local neighborhood hyperlocal. So to me, when I see this dynamic on a macro level with Obama, locally, like Obama is the black neighbor that my gentrifier neighbors are okay with. The black neighbors that my gentrifier neighbors that are not okay with are predominantly lower income of a different subculture that they truly see as black. So
Can I tell you something?
1 second. When people like Beyonce makes this movie Black is King, and she's literally trying to reframe the thought process of what Black is because of this historical narrative of the word Black and how it's been imposed on people, blackball, Black every blacklisted, embedded in our language, the way Martin Luther King described. Until we reconcile that, it's very difficult to have clarity across the board. Because what's happening now is Black people of higher income are also discriminating against poor Black people of lower incomes, and we can't reconcile that in terms of gentrification. That's why reparations is an issue. That's why this basic income is an issue. That's why someone like Tyler Perry, a mogul, a Black man, saying we need police in this neighborhood is an issue. Because how do people reconcile that mentally?
We're
gonna open our floor up to the audience. It says, do you support democracy in the workplace and UBI? UBI is the universal basic income.
Yes, absolutely. So, I mean, UBI, I think UBI, first of all, a lot of, you're going to see some arguments here, right? A lot of people who are working and paying taxes think that that money is theirs, and how dare you give that money to somebody else who is not working? What they don't understand.
What do you mean by that money?
The
taxes?
UBI.
The UBI.
Universal base. But where does that money come from?
From all of us.
So taxes.
From
our
taxes.
budget. Got it. So they think the budget is theirs.
And they think that because a lot of people who will be receiving UBI likely are not paying their fair share in taxes or whatever, that they are giving that person the money. And that is because of how we were taught. We were not really taught economics that realizes that economics is really a complete system designed by man, and that within that system, you have to have the different parts churning. And when you churn and give UBI to some people, and those some people spend that money is what keeps that economy moving, that you are dependent on. So therefore, even the money that's given to those who spend it to buy bread, peanut butter, and chocolate, that money is coming right back to you. It's an economic system. People try to make it a you-me system. It's an integrated system that works together.
And that's kind of, and go back with that thought too, Egberto, with Medicare for all. When we're all in this together, all of us are taken care of.
Yes, and people have to, and the thing about it is, we are likely the only system that doesn't teach its people that we teach this level of individualism as if we can stand alone. I could not exist without both of you. I could not exist without my neighbors. I could not exist without any of that, because it is a community, and the ones who make it huge, really big, what they are doing is, believe it or not, they are putting a shoe on your neck. Now, I want to address something that Robbie just said, because she's so right. And you said it before I said it, which makes me, I am so upset that you.
What? I don't know.
But when you talked about, and what you talk about is what I talk about a lot, right? Well, we have to unite the ghettos, Appalachias, and the barrios, because it's really it's a stereotype of Black, Latinos, and whites, which is the three majority type of groups in the country.
Poor whites.
Yes, poor whites. Yes, exactly. Poor whites. That's what I meant. You're right. But here's the funny thing. You just said that in a different way, because listen to what you just said. Because when you were talking about, Obama was the acceptable Black because a lot of white people would not mind Obama living in their neighborhood, you were absolutely right.
I want you to address this comment too. She said Obama did nothing for the Black descendants of slavery community because he is not one of us. He set us back. America expected him to fix us, and he didn't.
Dawn Page,
because he does not relate to us.
Dawn Page, let me suggest one thing.
One more. Obama was rooted in respectability politics.
Okay, let me say one thing. It is, and I'm gonna say this by mentioning something that our beautiful host said to me one time. She said to me, "You are not ADOS." Okay. That's Tamara talking.
Let's explain that. Explain that, y'all, before we start the deep. ADOS stands for American Descendants of Slavery. Egberto is from Guatemala?
Panama.
Panama.
Yeah.
He's Panamanian. He doesn't descend from slavery in this country.
Right.
So that's what that means. Go ahead.
Right. No, but I'm not. It's not a knock. It's an understanding thing that I want to come to, because I understood exactly what she meant. But by the same token, it's a sting, right? I am also Latino. Robbie is Latino, but I'm a Black Latino. Robbie is a passing Latina. So I am. So my thing is, in all these different. Why are you laughing, Tamara?
Go ahead, Egberto. We're gonna let you finish. Robbie's laughing too.
Oh, look at you throwing me under the bus.
Robbie's laughing too. Like, I know the only one laughing.
Okay. So that leaves me in this situation where it's like, a lot of times it's like, so if you take all these different permutations, it's like, well, they're actually telling me in America I have no home, right? So what I try to get, because I heard that a lot in the statement from the kind guest that just made that statement, where in effect she threw Obama under the bus. But if both she and Obama went into Timbuktu, Texas, nobody would make a distinction between her and Obama. Nobody would make a distinction between Tamara and me. Okay, they wouldn't make that distinction at all. Now, here's the thing. I think all of us that are oppressed in some manner have to find a way, and I'm talking about on all sides, have to find a way not to create those things. Obama wasn't one of us. Obama created respectability politics. All things that are true, right? But we can teach, or we can point those things out and still take the section of Obama out that we need, without having that conversation that yet further divides us, and have our eyes off the mate. Let me finish. And have our eyes off of the ball, because the big ball is the oppressor, right? Obama gets used partially by the oppressor, but I can also say that when Tamara tells me I am not owed ADOS, she's also using some of the language of the oppressor against me, right?
No,
I know that. I'll explain
no.
after.
Did you finish?
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done for
Okay.
now. Just for now.
Tamara, you want to go first? Tamara, you first.
How do I use the language of the oppressor when I say you're not ADOS? You're not a descendant of. I told the truth. You're not a descendant
I
of
get
slavery,
it, but
slavery in this country. So reparations and the argument, and it's only specific to the demand for reparations for those of us who are descendants.
I wasn't arguing with the text of your language, and I think I even gave you the kudos that you're correct, right? But what I'm saying is, by concentrating on that specific, right? That specific thing. Robbie wants to have my head already.
No, I don't. Finish.
Get ready, Egberto.
Finish.
I know. So since I know she's rolling over to hit me, let me just say one other piece. That's why I love you guys. You guys are great. So I mean, that little, that little piece that's wrong, right? We can spend so much time on that we detract from the oppressor. And that is the sort of stuff that I don't want to do. But go ahead.
Thank you. It's not wrong. This is and I'm glad it's coming up, because this comes up all the time. And it's a challenge for creating unity. We cannot be unified if you don't understand the layers and the hierarchy in struggle. I see this among women, like feminine doctrine to some degree, feminist doctrine. Mm-hmm. If a man wants to support women, he can't come in, take over the lecture, and tell women how difficult it is being a woman and expect to be in charge of it, get the funding and all that, and think, oh yeah, we're all unified together. No, Chico, you just took over. Get behind, and until you understand that, we cannot walk together. We cannot be allies, because you aren't clear on the hierarchy. This is no different. And so these detailed conversations and understandings provide clarity. And when we have clarity, then people can truly support each other. This is actually the same difficulty that I have with David. David is constantly bringing up how white people are suffering, poor white people are suffering and under the thumb. And that's true, but they do not suffer in an equal way that poor Black people do. That is simply not realistic. Poor white people get sympathy. They get effing sympathy. Poor Black people don't get anything but a.
Can I interrupt for a second?
No. So the thing with Obama is that Obama was only allowed to do what the Democrats had the political wherewithal to fight for and what the Republicans allowed. So that is a controlled system that he was placed in front of strategically where he couldn't accomplish much. And the woman, Miss Page, she's accurate. You know, and so is Tamara. You're not ODOS. I'm not ODOS, but we can ADOS, but we can support it. And Obama probably would have done more, but there is a distinct difference. And he didn't support reparations. I don't know if to date he's not supporting reparations. I'm done. Oh, I want to mention something about my neighbor afterwards. And plantation capitalism, which came up in John Lewis's funeral, because I think it's relevant to what we're talking about.
That was so great. Did you see the clip that I did from Lawson?
I loved it. I shared it.
That clip was balls from Lawson about capitalism.
It was great.
But Robbie, you see, here's the complexity, right? The complexity is when I cannot disagree with you, but at the same time, I want to tamp down the differences among us. Like you just made a very important point when you said a white poor person, right, that is going through a hell of a struggle, and a Black poor person that is going through a hell of a struggle. Let me tell you what the difference is from what you just said. Mm-hmm. You are a very smart woman. Tamara is a very smart woman. You all understand the intricacies of the system that these people are under. Unfortunately, that poor white woman or that poor white guy and that poor Black guy, the only thing that they and I'm generalizing, so folks, please don't hit me for saying this, but the only thing they know themselves is within their condition. They are poor and they don't have anything. And that both the white and the Black person know that. Now I slap a suit on that white person. I am an engineer. I slap a suit on me and both of us go for the interview. They're going to take that poor white guy with a suit that knows nothing over me. When I say they'll take him, they'll think that he has more knowledge over me. I understand all those intricacies, right? But that white poor person, they are so into their system that I'll tell you what, a lot of times the only thing that keeps them around or keeps them sane, at least I am not Black.
Can I say something? I think we don't give poor people as much credit as they deserve. And I'm so sorry about this.
Is that a cat?
I'll explain afterwards. But I think we don't give poor people the credit that they deserve. And this is what I mean. I see poor people of color in my community all the time. They're on their porches. There's a lot of amputees around here because wherever amputees were sent for lower income was in this area. So they remain here, awaiting the displacement. And new people, I live in Southwest Atlanta, massive gentrification, displacement, etc. Divested area where lower income people don't have credit. There's not a lot of jobs, low amenities, etc. Well, these people are sitting here around the community watching people of higher income, predominantly Caucasians, and some people of color come buy up these properties and watching their own displacement. They're watching their folks get evicted, get foreclosed on, tax liens being bought, etc. And these people know, they may not be able to articulate like the structural component of real estate or whatever and how it's tied into the city and the incentives and what's causing this massive gentrification, but they really know because they know who to resent to some degree. And what is amazing to me, it's one of the saddest things I've ever witnessed. Because when I see these people sitting on stoops, living, squatting in homes, homeless, not having the opportunity, not having the credit, and City of Atlanta funds tour buses to come through here and buy up everything, we are lucky that these people are as patient and as godly as they are. Because honestly, if that was me, half of these houses would have been burned down. And
here's the thing. Here's what I want to tell you, because and that is what I think is within what I'm explaining as well. First of all, please, I do not discount or I do not take poor people for granted at all. I honestly don't. And I believe in everybody's competencies, but I also believe that everybody has their own reality, right? In other words, there are certain things that I am blind to. By the way, I when I joined Move to Amend, I had to learn. There's something that you said about going into a woman's group, and a guy comes into a women's group and he starts doing all the taking the leadership roles and suddenly think that he's in control. I learned that quickly in Move to Amend when the women in Move to Amend sit me on my butt and said, "Shut up. This is how things." So I went through the learning process of how to be allies, how not to come into places and take over. And the same applies with let's say if you're in a poor area and you are trying to assist in the thing, you have to realize that those are the people who have to determine in their area what they want. I understand all of that. But I also understand that there are certain realities that we have to, if we want to be good allies. You just said all those homes would have been burned down. My question to you is, why weren't they burned down?
I mean, let's throw it back at the audience, everybody. So Shayna, she says, Lineage versus Melanin. Obama has melanin like us. He does not share the lineage of ADOS, which is American descendants of slavery. He is Kenyan and white. He grew up with his grandmother. He was given a $400,000 inheritance. He attended Harvard Law School. He does not share the baked-in cost of being ADOS, which is American descendant of slavery, Reconstruction, convict leasing, Jim Crow, redlining, mass incarceration. The closest cost that he shares to ADOS is not being able to get a cab in Chicago. But Henrietta says Obama understands us better than any other president has. He did a lot for the Black community. Obama and no damn body else can fix Black folks until we fix ourselves.
That and I like both. Actually, I love both statements, right? Because they give me a chance to do a contrast. And this ties into your reality, right? It's easy to say Obama doesn't have the reality. Who knows who George Washington Carver was?
Peanut man.
Okay,
right?
George Washington Carver. Okay, George Washington Carver would have loved Obama. George Washington Carver would have sort of looked at those other Black folk and say, you have to go and kind of pull yourself up and all that kind of stuff, right? Now, here's the thing. I think there's, and I hate to use the word middle, right? But I think there's a bit of things based on the Black people. All the Black people in my neighborhood are ADOS, except for a few from Jamaica, Haiti, and a couple other places. But the ones that are the ones that want to have no real ADOS associations are not those of us that came from Central America and the Caribbean. They are the same folks that the first message that you gave is talking about. The one who lived once in redline communities. The person who, I live in a mostly white community. And what's interesting is the Black folks that live here that are ADOS. They're the ones who have experienced redlining. They're the ones who have experienced going to segregated schools. They're the ones who have experienced going to poor schools and all of that. They are ADOS. And the folks in my community, the Black folks in my community that talks about, no, this is not how things are supposed to be, are the foreign ones. We are all naturalized citizens, but the foreign ones. So I'm saying that is the reason sometimes I am taken a little bit aback by that message that says Obama isn't one of us because he didn't feel our pain. When a lot of the ones who felt the pain, when they got out, their answer is, I got mine.
No, but the thing is this is really no different than the Latin American discussion. I'm sorry, is that background me? Okay.
I don't know. Let me turn it. Okay.
This is no different than the Latin American discussion. Like when I go to Puerto Rico, because I was first born in New York, they tell me you're not real Puerto Rican.
Mhm.
When I go to Latin America and I'm born abroad, you know, they're very clear. They're like, literally, I have been told in Spanish, "Tú no eres Latina real."
Mhm.
Like, which means you're not you're not real Latin. So there is a cultural difference in people born here, and that's to be understood. Now, in terms of Obama, I think this brings in and the recent happenings, the passing of C.T. Vivian, John Lewis, you know, nobody can argue that Obama is not better than Trump. I mean, that's just a given, right? But here we are, and I think in one of the speeches, someone mentioned plantation capitalism.
That was a great.
Obama is an individual. When we apply individual instead of looking at systemic, that's our issue.
Right.
And we have
100%.
those systemic issues. People who are ADOS, people in divested communities need housing first, or housing to begin with. You cannot organize yourself without proper housing. That is a detriment. Right now, communities of color are about to be evicted all over the country. There's a job crisis in those same communities. Our education systems are trash. Literally, they're trash, and we expect those kids to compete with people earning $30,000 a semester or paying in a private school. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. And it continues the cycle of plantation capitalism. We have discussed the airport before, the Atlanta Hartsfield Airport, the busiest airport in the world. Everybody that's low income, low wage jobs are people of color. Everyone who are not on top are protected, unionized with contract. There is a distinct difference among race, white and black, where they live, what the education system is, the instability for housing. It is continuous. So we know what the problems are, but we cannot, say when everybody's united and ignore the hierarchies in that. Until then, we cannot be allies.
No. Let me tell you, I understand the hierarchies, and I believe that you're correct that we have to teach the hierarchies, right? And I think in the case when I use my term, Appalachia, the ghettos and the barrios, okay? That doesn't preclude not understanding the hierarchy. In fact, I think the only way you do that is people will understand. If people do understand the hierarchy, I think that makes my life easier. Now, when it comes to the things that are systemic, the one thing that I tell a lot of people is you cannot do everything the same way and expect a different result. And what I find with a lot of activists today is we're repeating the same things over and over again, and we get played. And one of the things that the master plays everybody is when I talk about the black folks that live in different parts of this place, right? They get their own, and they are no longer wanting even to consider reparations, when a lot of what got them where they are is individual reparation, not systemic reparation, right? In other words, you remember when that black guy went to Morehouse College and he paid off the debt of all these students? It was like everybody was happy and he did such a great thing. I took the other side. I said, no, because as he's paying those people's bills off, he's gentrifying different parts of the country that hurts more of the people that look like these folks he just helped to make a buck off the rest. Okay, so there are all these things that these guys know how to put a facade on, that we don't understand systemically what's happening. So the activist is out there and they're pointing out to, let's go do this. And when this black guy does this good thing, oh, look at this great thing he did, which isn't the case. The case is we have to change in my opinion, we have to change the paradigm. And the paradigm, in my opinion, gets changed by, first of all, Obama is not the problem. Obama is just the continuation of how things are done. We have to break the cycle to bring him on board. You see that speech that Lawson gave? Very few people talked about it. That was the most profound speech at that.
Who lost the speech? Who's Lawson? I didn't see the whole funeral.
Lawson is the activist, a 91-year-old activist that was with Martin Luther King. And I have issues with Martin Luther King. I'm more of a Malcolm X kind of a guy. But still, this guy was more, if you listen to him, he was a Malcolm X kind of a guy until Martin Luther King really got into the poverty march and all these things back near the end of his near the end of his life. It was great to hear Lawson. Not a peep about Lawson because he mentioned the word, what's that word again? Plantation capitalism.
That's brilliant. I don't know who came up with that, but that is brilliant, and I hope it continues in the discussions. Ironically, Kemp, our governor, has done another ban on masks. So we have our state, on one level, and we have our city, our mayor demanding masks or requiring masks, and they're arguing, and they're in a legal issue. And it's interesting because the people that Kemp is defending the large business. In essence, he wants this business to keep going, but who makes that business keep going? Essential workers.
Right.
Essential workers have to send their kids somewhere to daycare. We don't have, these systems that are appropriate
Right.
for the current ongoing happening. So who's he willing to risk? The essential workers. But we get caught up in this argument between our mayor, who's all over the country. She was just featured in an article saying she's national. I don't know how she's taking care of Atlanta if she's all over. And then we've got, no, seriously, I don't. I mean, it's concerning. It's concerning. But the last thing I want to mention is just on a separate note, in terms of this viewpoint of who can do what. I have a very nice neighbor next to me who moved in. He's a nice guy. He's a chef and he's not working. Well, he set up this entire smoke thing in his backyard. He's doing pop-ups, and he happens to be a Caucasian guy, and I get along with him. It's fine, whatever. I have white friends. But ironically, if that man, let me tell you, was black, lived next door and did pop-ups and had these cars up and down blocking my driveway, the way these neighbors of mine, these nice so-called Christian neighbors that moved in, my little driveway, they would have code enforcement all over his what, like that. But
that's the systemic thing.
Do it.
That is a racist systemic thing, because the cops would have come out there as well and shut him down. But nobody's going to do that for this other guy. And those, those are the things that have to be pointed out all the times. Like, I sure hope you go and shake his hands and take pictures and all that kind of stuff, so that the next time, and then you go to one of your black neighbors and say, hey, you used to make some great barbecue. Why don't you create a pop-up in your backyard? And then let that happen. Have all those pictures there and say, how comes you never said that about this? You see,
what's the
here's what I mean. Here's what I mean, Robbie.
And a lemonade stand.
Here's what I mean, Robbie. Here's what I mean.
No, I got you.
Yeah, we have to. Our method of activism has to take the different part. Now, like, let me give an example. Yesterday, I got this publicist. I got one minute. This publicist sent me this thing saying, "Hey guys, this guy from ALEC, the Legislative Council. We got 200 signatures from all these Congress people that don't want to provide any money to the states at all. So they want this guy interviewed. So I know that they sent me that by mistake. They just got a bulk list of all the media outlets they could get. So they sent it by mistake. I said, wow, I need to tell these guys I need to do an interview, and I need to do an interview now. The reason I said now is because if they get a chance to look up who the hell I am, they're going to say, oh my God, we can't do that. So I sent an email and I called and I said, I would love to interview Mr. Johnson, Vice President of ALEC. Oh, really? Yeah. Okay, great. He's at the dentist right now. I said, can we do it in the next half hour because my show goes live? And they said, oh, yes. And then they said, they called me back and said, instead of 30 minutes, can we do it in 45 minutes? Oh, yes, we're going to do it in 45 minutes. 45 minutes come and I get a call. Oh, Mr. Willies, he had an emergency in the dentist's chair. So I accept that. I said, okay, no problem. I can still cue that for my show tomorrow. Can we go ahead and arrange it for when he gets back? Silence. Why did I bring that up? Because it's a matter of change. We have to, just like gorillas have one, just like our founding fathers were gorillas, not called gorillas. They were, ellos eran guerrillas. They were gorillas who beat the British, and they got their will. We as activists, I think, have to start using guerrilla tactics in media, guerrilla tactics in all these different areas, because it's not going to be given to us. We are going to have to take it.
Well, there was a comment about respectability politics, and I think this is where people get in trouble, that they're buying into a narrative that you have to behave a certain way because of respectability politics, and all that does is basically cripple you. I do want to mention I'm sorry, I lost it. Go ahead.
That's right. As a black man, I know what respectability politics look like. Respectability politics means that if I want to want to go to a certain place and just be like, just not be bothered. I have played respectability black man before.
No, let me give an example. My grandmother, when Hillary Clinton got cheated on, she told me in Spanish, "Oh, but she behaved like a lady." In other words, suffer quietly. Put your mess behind your door and suffer quietly. I am not good at that. I am not someone who suffers quietly. To me, that's the equation of respectability politics. You need to walk around, behave, or whatever. Don't protest. Don't say too much. Don't stand up in a meeting. And
look to your left and ask that woman to the left of you right now. Ask that woman to the left of you right now.
What?
About respectability policy. Why don't you tell us? Okay, it's her show, but let me query her now. Senator to be Shealey, talk to us about respectability politics and what folks would have expected out of you if you really wanted to be working perfectly within the Democratic Party.
I would be quiet, and I would go along to get along, and I wouldn't tell the truth. And I would probably be sitting in the Georgia State Senate right now.
Yes, I know you would. I know you would. Let me just give a plug for Tamara, guys. I met this young woman in Arizona. I think it was Arizona, and I saw, she was just sitting down there, and I saw this person alone, and we started to talk, and I looked at her that day, and I said, "That is a real politician that is going places." And I think that's when immediately we did an interview that went on to Daily Kos, got quite a few hits on Daily Kos but the one thing I knew after interviewing her right away is that it will always be a slog because she was going to take no bull.
And thank you for covering her, Egberto, because your independent media, it's such a sad state of affairs. I remembered what I was going to say, the water boys. These water boys have now been targeted to take them off the street. You know what our media did? Our media showcased the worst. The two examples of the worst of the water boys were there were probably people dealing drugs as well, which happens all over, but they showcased that to use that to shut it down. It was the same MO that shut down the Rayshard Brooks Peace Center. They showcased the negative, highlighted the negative. They had a press conference on the negative to shut it down, to stop people from organizing.
May I hold you accountable now?
Independent media, sure.
May I hold you accountable?
Yeah, what did I do?
Whenever a report like that comes out, right, and you see it on TV, I would love all of us to have something like a rapid response team. And what I mean by the rapid response team is, about the water boys. I know nothing about the water boys. They went and did a report on that. The report that I love that you did is when you went out there and you challenged the mainstream guy out there, and then you show a real picture of what was going on. I love what Bobby Rodrigo did for me in Portland, because it was one square block where the stuff was happening, so we could give the real picture. I would love if something like that happened. You run with your skills as well and say, this is a report and this is that, and then we put those things together, and that is how we can start making those things, by being activists in that sort of a stuff.
She says respectability politics is subtle, like when Ocasio-Cortez was told by Nancy Pelosi not to wear red lipsticks. Laugh out loud. I laughed so hard when Cortez mixed it up on the House floor and her lips were flaming red. That was her response.
I love that.
Yeah, and she wears hoop earrings, and I love the fact that who she is who she is, and that's it. And I'm not going to let, she hadn't let the Democratic Party.
Although she won't give me another interview. I was the first one to tell her she was going to win. I have the clip. I sent the clip to her PR people and says, I was the first one. Here's the clip where I said she was going to win.
She might be just busy, Egberto.
I'm just not big enough for her anymore.
No, they've come for her. They're trying to take out her whole district so that she cannot even run again. That's what happens when you have that level of influence, you know, and that's why it's never should be one leader. Because you can take out a leader easy, but you can't take out a movement.
Very true. Very true. Very true.
Well, we're almost at the top of the hour. I want to thank Mr. Egberto for jumping in on this first Saturday. We're going to have you back next first Saturday because David is off and away. Robbie said he's on a rendezvous or something.
You guys are great. I mean, you make me think, you make me think. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah. So thank you, you guys. You can find Egberto Willies at Politics Done Right everywhere. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Politics Done Right with EgbertoWillies.com. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, every day you can find him. Politics Done Right with EgbertoWillies.com. Thank you, sir.
Thank you guys for having me. And don't forget, folks, Tamara Shealey for Senator. And don't forget to go to RobbieCaban.com. I love you guys.
Thank you. Have a good one, Egberto.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, Robbie, we had a full morning.
God, it went so quick.
I know. Same time next week.
Same bat channel.
Same bat channel. All right. You can find Miss Robbie Caban right here, RobbieCaban.com. I am Tamara Johnson Shealey, y'all. I need as much support as I can get on this campaign trail, guys. I will find out in just a little while if I'm hitting the road, when, where, how. I'll know in just a few minutes. But if you have anything you can donate, no dollar amount is too small. Please send it my way. I'll find out in just a little while where we are, what we can do, and how this thing is about to pan out. I did not meet my goal last night, but I think we got something going here. We got something going. So please send me what you can. I'll be hitting the road around the great state of Georgia. Robbie, same time next week.
Same time.
Same time. Have a great week.
Okay.
Amen.
Ciao.
Have a great week, everybody.